There's been a red card, but for who, Chris Kamara?
Red card. Gets a red card. It is a red card. That's not a red card.
And a red is a red card for Zidane.
4 lads, 1 red card.
Hello everyone, welcome to 4 lads, 1 red card. We're the 1st of December today and it's already the 12th edition of your favorite podcast. I just been informed that today is Romanian National Day, right, Alex?
Yeah, of course.
Great, that's
Glory
cool.
to Romania.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. You're the king today, right?
Yes, I'm in charge.
Okay, you're in charge. So yeah, we'll begin our podcast. Of course, today I'm joined by Jotis and Alex, as you may have seen. How are you guys? Not too cold, not too sick. Jotis, Alex.
Yeah, a bit bad, kind of like Real
Yeah.
Madrid, a bit
got-
sick.
Got
Exactly.
sick because you watched Real Madrid recent performances.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, we're gonna of course talk about that. This week has been full of great matches once again, and we will discuss all that, of course. Just before we begin, please don't forget to follow us, put a like, comment, and share our content on social media, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And first, guys, let's talk a bit about the Champions League. The league table is gradually taking shape. First, I will ask you, a quick question for you both. Do you know what's in common between those 3 players? Estevao from Chelsea, Giovanni Quenda from Sporting Portugal, and Dastan Satpaev from the Kazakhstan club Kairat Almaty. They have teams in common. Do you know what are those teams?
They all scored against Barcelona.
Not really.
They are the youngest goal scorers of
Mm.
last night in the Champions League.
Well, you two have some clues. So they're really young. One of them is 18, the others are 17 or something like this. So that's crazy, though. They've all scored a goal for their team this week in Champions League, so that's a nice performance. But most importantly, they all belong to Chelsea Football Club.
Okay.
That's the craziest.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. When I was watching the games, the multiplex that week, I saw the goal from the guy in Kairat Almaty, then the goal from Sporting Portugal, then Estevao, and the commentator said the craziest thing of all that is that all those players belong to Chelsea.
Wow. That is crazy though.
Imagine how big the Chelsea squad is that they loaned a player to Kairat Almaty.
Exactly. That's crazy. They signed him 1 year ago, something like this, and he's on loan for 2 years. So next year he's gonna join Chelsea normally. So yeah, that's the crazy thing I wanted to share with you. And speaking about Chelsea, let's go back to this week's match between Chelsea and Barcelona. Chelsea won 3-0, moving up to the 7th place in the league table. Barcelona, meanwhile, dropped to the 18th place. The first question, Jotis, where do you see those 2 teams finishing at the end of the league campaign? I will just remind you guys the next fixtures. Chelsea will play away at Atalanta. They will receive Paphos with David Luiz, and they will play their last game away in Napoli. Meanwhile, Barcelona will receive Frankfurt, travel to Prague, and then receive Copenhagen. So that's the three fixtures for the 2 teams. So Jotis, where do you see those 2 teams finishing at the end?
So where is Chelsea and Barcelona at the moment? in the
Chelsea,
table?
yeah, Chelsea is in 7th place, so 7, and Barcelona is 18.
18.
Yeah,
I think Barcelona will definitely is going through playoffs. There's no way they are finishing in the top 6,
Okay.
top 8.
top 8.
Yeah, there's no way. But I feel like Chelsea could be 5th or 4th easily if they don't have the hardest pictures coming up. So they should be okay. But yeah, Barcelona is going through playoffs. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, do you think Barcelona can maybe bounce back? They have 3, let's say, easy fixtures, 2 games at home against Frankfurt and Copenhagen, and 1 travel to Prague. So 3 easy matches, but still they need to win those 3 at least to be in the top 8. Do you think it can be possible or it won't be the case?
I mean, it doesn't depend only on them whether or not they will finish in the top 8, because they can accumulate right now, I don't know how many points, like 16 or something, if they win all 3 games. And yeah, they if they make it to top 8, great, but it will probably be playoffs for them, which is not great because you have to play 2 extra games. And during February, you are just like getting into that final stage of the season. And it's important to be as sharp as possible in the final stages of the season. And adding 2 extra games doesn't help with that matter.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, let's see. To be honest, I think Barcelona can win those 3 games, not so hardly, but as you said, Alex, it not depend on only on Barcelona, so we cannot predict if they will finish top 8 or not. If they are in the top 8, they will finish like 7th or 8th maximum because the points will be higher for the rest. And Chelsea, they have 10 points, but they play away at Atalanta and also in Napoli. So I think they can do it, but it's gonna be a bit hard. But it's gonna be interesting to see if they manage to qualify in this top 8. Talking about the game, the Barcelona game against Chelsea, Alex, that was so another defeat for Barcelona against a big European team this season. We remember also the losses against PSG and Real Madrid, for example. Lamine Yamal disappointed a bit again in this clash, to be honest, when you compare it to Estevao,
Yeah,
for
but
example.
yeah, but also like if you're looking at him play during the game, you could see the way he receives the passes and the way he thinks
Mhm.
the situation. You could tell that he's an amazing player. Like there were so many times in which he had 2 or 3 Chelsea players around him, and he managed to slot that ball towards a teammate. But that teammate wasn't able to move the ball forward, so they could like capitalize on the advantage because Yamal played the ball forward, because otherwise, if all players played backwards passes, nobody would be able to score. Yamal is that kind of player. Yeah, it's true that he also lost a lot of duels with Cucurella. He had an amazing game, Cucurella. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think like overall, it was a bad game for Lamine Yamal standards, of course. And when your team loses 3-0, you can't say that you've had a great game unless you are a goalkeeper and you save 20 other
Yeah.
shots from going into the net. Yeah, but I mean, Barcelona, do you remember that Ferran Torres was like, he had the whole goal in front of him. And that,
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, right?
yeah, and that PlayStation player, because I could not name him a footballer, he put it wide. I swear, if I was in his situation, I would at least put it on target, on target. Not, I wouldn't say I would score, but I would put it on target. He put it wide, and if Barcelona had scored in that moment, you never know what the outcome might be. And of course, then the expulsion of Araujo changed the whole game. But until the
Yeah.
sending off, it wasn't that much of a big difference between the teams. Barcelona
Mhm.
started great, from my opinion. They were involved in the physical duels also. Then Chelsea pushed, they scored from a debatable offside position, and then the red card. And when you are playing with 10 men, you don't have any other chances.
Yeah, I wanted also to ask you, Alex, as a Barcelona fan, when you see that your captain that night was Araujo and he did sent off like this, it's not the first time he did a red card in crucial matches. As a Barcelona fan, do you support Araujo as a captain, or do you think he needs to leave the club? You need to find a new one. What is your opinion
Yeah.
on that?
So I think that his status in the squad needs to change because it's clearly that he's not a starter. You cannot count on him in these big games. Maybe he can be a great player for the La Liga matches in which you play teams from the second part of the table, but you can't count on Araujo in big games because he's exposed to mistakes and he's a player that does a lot of mistakes. He isn't comfortable with the ball at all. He's great, like on one-on-one duels. He's very good, but you need to do a lot more if you are playing for Barcelona. You need to have the technical ability to play the ball from the back, and he clearly doesn't have that, and he clearly doesn't understand the system that Barcelona is playing. And he was like eliminated from the game in a very childish manner, to call it.
Yeah.
It's also a mental problem for him. It would be better for him and for the club if he left, but if he stayed, his status needs to change to a rotational player.
I also wanted to ask you a question. Maybe Jotis, you can answer it too, because we see that this Barcelona team that season is not as competitive and dominant as they were, for example, last season. Last week, you said that, of course, a team needs to find his peak, needs to find his high form, and you said that it's better to have that peak in February or March than right now, to be
Maybe
honest. So
even
that's a
later,
good one.
April and May.
Maybe even later. Yeah, that's true. But for now, guys, what do you think Barca is missing to be as competitive and dominant as last season? What is there a factor? Is there a player? Is there a tactical thing that needs to be improved, needs to be changed by the coach or by the players to be the team as dominant they were last season? We remember they were maybe the best team in the world with PSG, and now we're all a bit disappointed by this Barcelona version, right?
You can go.
I
I'll
mean,
say my version after that.
one of the reasons Barcelona were so good last season is because of the form of the players, that form of their superstars. Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Gavi, everyone was unbelievable last season. But that's not the case. That's not the same case this season. I mean, Lamine Yamal, a lot of the pitch controversy has clearly affected the guy. So it's not particularly, looking good on the pitch. And
I disagree. And I have an argument for this. You see, last season, people were like criticizing Yamal for not having great numbers. They're like, oh, how can you give the Ballon d'Or to a guy who only has 9 league goals? But if you're looking at his numbers this season, the numbers are good. I mean, in my opinion, he almost has double figures for assists and also for goals. And it's only like the first quarter of the season. Only the first quarter
Yeah.
of the season was played. I think there's a difference. Last year, he like passed the eye test, you know how they call it in football. You looked at him and he was amazing, but he couldn't like register a goal and assist. This season, yeah, he has many like phases of play where he looks switched off, but he manages to get a goal or an assist like almost every single game. One or in, I think his like ratio is a goal or an assist every 2 games or something. So the numbers are there. His game is evolving as well because he is developing as a player. He's still developing as a player, in my opinion.
I mean, the team still, doesn't function as it used to before, because
Yeah.
it has to be attributed to some players, clearly,
Yeah,
or
but
because there hasn't been a big change in the system,
Mhm.
if I'm not wrong. So it's clearly up to the individual players to step up and do something, because
it is.
clearly, yeah.
There are many factors for which the team doesn't perform to the level they did last year, but
Yeah.
they are like, if you're looking at their point tally in the league, where they were last season compared to right now, it's the same. It's almost the same. They conceded a bit more goals and scored 3 goals less, I think, but they are almost the same level of points. The thing is that, first of all, it was the departure of Inigo Martinez that left a
Yeah.
huge hole in the defensive line that Hansi Flick is still trying to figure out. He's experimenting on that. He's played there Araujo, Eric Garcia. He had Gerard Martin playing there in the last game against Alaves. So he's still trying to figure out that idea. Second, it was the individual performance of the players, like Jody said, but not specific players. The team as a whole didn't press as they did in the second part of the season, because when you are playing like this, it's not always the problem of the defenders when you concede so much. It's the problem of the whole team, because if you don't press and if you allow space for the opposition to think about the passes, they can expose you. So it's a problem of attitude and also fatigue, because playing like this requires so much physical effort, and maybe the team is not at the best physical level yet. And I think it will grow as the season will go over. It will go. My biggest nightmare is that, okay, they don't win the Champions League this season. No worry, it's okay. I think they can win La Liga. I think they are favorites to win La Liga. And they can retain also the Copa del Rey. But my biggest worry would be that even though they win La Liga and Copa del Rey, let's say, I think that if these rumors and conversation about, oh, why is the team not playing at the same level, I think that Hansi Flick will leave at the end of the
Okay.
season. And that would be a disaster because there's no other coach that can come and continue this amazing journey that started. You have to bring, if he leaves, you have to bring a crazy coach, like maybe bring Cesc Fabregas from Como or something, but you have to bring somebody young from this new generation because otherwise, no chance.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So yeah, we'll follow closely the situation of Barcelona and Hansi Flick's too. We continue on Wednesday. We had another shot in this fifth day of the Champions League. Arsenal hosted Bayern Munich. It was a duel between what are undoubtedly the two best European teams this season, at least for now. And Arsenal managed to defeat Company's players for the first time this season, 3-1 at the Emirates Stadium. We're not going to talk about the game. We saw the goals, we saw the domination of Arsenal, we saw also the occasions of Bayern Munich. But as they are the two best teams for now, I wanted us with you that I wanted to compare those two teams. So I'll tell you the two players of the goalkeeper of one team, the goalkeeper of the other team, and the other players, and we will elect the best one, okay? To see who has the best team. So for the goalkeeper, we have at Arsenal, of course, David Raya, the Spanish goalkeeper, or Manuel Neuer, the veteran, the German keeper. Who do you?
I mean, based on the. Sorry, you were saying.
Now, if it was 2015, yeah, that's what I said. Maybe I would pick Neuer, but today, Raya.
I mean, based on the current form, yeah, Raya for sure. But as a player with with this whole legacy, Manuel Neuer for sure.
Sure. Let's continue with the central defenders. We'll take two. We have William Saliba. We have Gabriel Magalhaes. Even if he's injured at the moment, we'll take him. And at Bayern, we have Jonathan Tah, Upamecano. We can add Kim Min-jae if you want, guys. I don't know if you'll select this one, but who are the two we're gonna select for that?
I think Gabriel and Saliba, because
Yeah.
they've been so consistent this season. I mean, Upamecano has been good as well, but the level of consistency Gabriel and Saliba has produced, unbelievable.
I would actually pick Saliba and Jonathan Tah. I like Jonathan Tah. He's a great defender, and he was available on a free this summer. And there were rumors that he could be coming to Barcelona because his agent is the same agent as Lewandowski. They have the same agent, Pino Zahavi. And there were discussions, but yeah, he chose Bayern. Fucking loser.
So for now, we have those guys. For the fullbacks, we have from Bayern, we have Stanisic, Konrad Laimer, sometimes also Rafael Guerrero that plays. In Arsenal, we have Calafiori, Jurgen Timber. We also have Miles Lewis-Kelly that plays on the left side. Who are the two fullbacks, in your opinion, that are the best between those names?
Again, I would go with Arsenal.
Yeah, me too.
Jurien Timber, again, unbelievable. The level of consistency is unbelievable. And Calafiori, even though he didn't have the best of the start to his Arsenal journey, he's been good.
Timber had a horrible start. Like, he broke his ACL in his first game in the Community Shield.
Yeah.
And he missed the whole season. And then he came back and instantly became the best right back at the club. You mean, like, do you understand how much of a great mentality you have to have? Like, it's amazing. And the trust also from Arsenal to have patience for his recovery. That's insane.
Yeah, that is true. So we have a nearly complete Arsenal defense. For the midfield, who do we choose? We have first Pavlovic from Bayern, Joshua Kimmich, or Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Mikel Merino. If you need to select, let's say, two defensive midfielders, and then we'll select an offensive midfielder. So two defensive midfielders between those names. I think we all agree to select maybe Declan Rice.
Sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Alex, tell us another name you could pick if you were the coach of this amazing team.
So I would have Kimmich over there. Kimmich. How do you pronounce his name? Kimmich.
I
Yeah.
think Kimmich.
Kimmich. Yeah, I would have him over there. Yeah, Declan Rice is great, but I mean, he he's great at free kicks, but like carrying the ball, he's not among the best. He's great, but he's not among the best.
Okay.
We don't have a better option. Yeah, Kimmich and Rice, great
Yeah.
midfield duo.
Yeah, it can be a great midfield pair. Judges, do you agree with that? Kimmich and Declan Rice from Arsenal, or you want to add another player in your midfield?
I mean, yeah, I think that's a good combo. I mean, it would be between Kimmich and Zubimendi, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Let's continue with the front four. So the offensive midfielder. I want to also talk a bit. So I included him there. The young Leonard Carl from Bayern who scored against Arsenal. He's really interesting, really talented. So do you choose that guy, let's say a young promise for football, or maybe Eze from Arsenal who scored a hat trick last week and who is gaining more and more time on the pitch? Who's going to be your choice for this position?
I'm gonna go with Eze because I love the
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, me too. Let it all work out.
Exactly, just a story, and the patience he has because he didn't get much playing time. Even though he signed at the beginning of the season, like he didn't have playing time, and then he had to wait so much, and then he got the chance. Brilliant goals all around. So yeah, Eze for me.
Yeah, and he's adding a lot on the Arsenal style of play. I think he's really like yesterday. We're gonna talk about that game against Chelsea, but Chelsea before the red card had a strong midfield, so we haven't seen him as at his best. But when he keeps the ball, when he tries to create occasions, he's really talented, and he has also the experience of Premier League and big games. So that's a great signing for Arsenal. Let's finish this team with the wings. We have Gnabry, we have Bukayo Saka, we have Martinelli, we have Michael Olise, we have lots of players. On the right wing, I think the debate is on the right wing because we have Michael Olise at Bayern and we have Bukayo Saka at Arsenal, two great players. Who, between those two for you, is doing the best season for now?
I would go with Michael Olise.
Yeah,
Michael
me
Olise?
too. I like Saka. He's great, but Olise
Mhm.
is just yeah. He's more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, yeah, he has something different when you watch him. Also in French national team, he brought lots of new things we haven't seen since years now. He's a really talented player and also has a fine technique of shooting and finishing. That's quite impressive. And when you play at Bayern Munich, of course, you learn how to score a lot of goals. Left wing, we have Martinelli, we have Gnabry, we have maybe Trossard. For you, who can be the guy at this position, Alex?
Luis Diaz.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about Luis Diaz. That's true.
That's a good
Luis
shout.
Diaz.
Yeah. That's right. You mentioned the right
I
guy. Luis
think
Diaz, of
yeah,
course, is
I think he's better than all the players you mentioned.
and his adaptation at Bayern is also quite impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, but I'm still happy that Barcelona signed Rashford instead of him because I still think he is too expensive. 70 or even more, 80, close to 90 million. This is what Bayern paid for him. And he has great numbers, but we also saw Florian Wirtz have amazing numbers in the Bundesliga.
That's right. That's right. Let's finish with the number 9. I think not a lot of suspense now. We have Victor Gyökeres for Arsenal and Harry Kane for Bayern Munich. I think we all agree on Harry Kane, especially this season. I've said if one of you want to want to place Gyökeres on the pitch.
No, somebody has to carry the water bottle, so I would pick Gyökeres.
I mean,
Yeah.
yesterday, did you guys see when Chelsea players were trying to fight with the Arsenal players? Gyökeres
Mhm.
was still doing the hair flick, which was
Really?
there's actually a picture where everyone is like trying to fight, and then Gyökeres is in the middle of that, just doing his hair flick.
There was a video of him, the Arsenal players, they were doing that rondo in kick-ups, like messing around in training,
Yeah.
and he tried to join, and they passed him the ball, and the ball hit him like it hit the table or something. No,
I think I've
no
seen that.
technique.
Yeah, the first touch was
Exactly.
horrible.
No first touch.
Yeah, we said it, but no change for now. So, okay, we have quite a complete squad. So the defense is, of course, at the advantage of Arsenal. They have such great defenders. The midfield is between Arsenal and Bayern, and of course the attack is from Bayern Munich. So we can see that we have two teams really complete. And imagine if you mix those two teams, they're gonna destroy every opponent. Finally, just I will remember that Arsenal is top of the Champions League league phase with 15 points out of 15. So 5 wins in 5 games for Arsenal. PSG and Bayern are so PSG second with 12 points, Bayern third with 12 points, and Inter fourth with 12 points. Real Madrid too has 12 points, so it's really tight between those teams. And Dortmund is sixth, Chelsea seventh, and for now, Sporting Portugal is eighth. It's going to be interesting to see how Man City, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Barcelona, and those teams can compete and maybe try to get to that top 8. We'll see that next week, of course. But now let's move on to Europe, where there were some big games this weekend again. We're going to start with La Liga. And I will honor the new leaders, Barcelona. Alex, despite, we said the defeat at Chelsea, Barcelona comfortably beat Alaves 3-1, with Dani Olmo scoring twice to regain the top spot in the table. So are you optimistic? You mentioned it a bit before. Are you optimistic about the rest of the season? You said that for you, Barcelona is still the favorite to win the title. You think that for now, they are top of the table, they won't let the place for another team, they will stay at this position until the end, or what do you think about that?
I think that they will win the title, but I'm not convinced by that Alaves win. The team needs to improve. You said that they won comfortably. The scoreline might say that, but it was 2-1 for Barcelona. They missed so many chances in the whole second half, and then Alaves was through on goal because of the crazy high line, and it was thanks to Joan Garcia that they didn't score. But imagine they attacked the whole it was only Barcelona on the pitch in that second half, and they missed a lot of chances with Olmo, like he mishit every single ball. Even though he scored twice, he mishit every other like clear-cut opportunity that he had. And Alaves almost scored, but thanks to the brilliance of Juan Garcia, Barcelona didn't concede, and they went on to score again. You have to be more like focused and into the game, because this is the difference. Maybe it gets you the job done in La Liga against these lower table teams, or teams from the second part of the table, let's call them like this. But if you are playing Chelsea in the Champions League, you can't get away with this. So this is why the whole structure needs to work. If somebody is leaking or something is leaking, the whole building is going to crash. You see how I phrase everything.
See, spoken like a true pundit. Get out, Jamie Carragher. Get Alex in.
Exactly. Talking about Barcelona and that, Jotis, Barcelona tomorrow will play against Atletico Madrid. Atletico Madrid is fourth in the table, but with 31 points, just 3 points behind Barcelona. So if they win, they could equal their number of points and maybe get at the top of this championship. Do you think Barcelona, as we said, lost against Chelsea, lost against PSG, lost against Real Madrid too? Do you think Barcelona will beat this Atletico Madrid side that has won his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games? So 7 victories in a row for Atletico Madrid. That's quite impressive for that team that we credited to have a not so good season. So big game tomorrow night. What's your prediction for that game? What's your opinion on that?
Go ahead, Alex.
Now, you can start, but I think you should start by apologizing to Simeone, because you were the one who criticized him the most, and he's done it again. Like, he turned the things around.
No, I never criticized. I said he has to turn this around, or it'll be his last season at the club, because that's what the fans want.
No matter how bad they are doing, you can't sack Simeone or pretend to be his last season at the club.
I think unless things are going good now, so if that keeps on going, he might be staying. He might be continuing at the club. But if not, I strongly believe it's going to be last season.
Yeah. Okay.
Strongly disagree.
Alex, you think that even if Atletico Madrid finishes 5th and doesn't qualify for the Champions League, he will stay at the club?
No, they won't finish 5th. I'm I'm
Okay.
100% sure they will finish in the Champions League spots. He never missed out for the Champions League since he took over the club. And when he took over, the club was mid-table, and he made them compete against Barcelona and Real Madrid, and he raised the standards so high that people forget the state the club was finding itself when he came.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. I mean, personally, I would like Simeone to be there because he's such a great guy. But it is what it is.
Maybe his future will also depend on tomorrow's game. Guys, one of you, maybe me, I will say my opinion, thinks that Atletico Madrid can win tomorrow at the Camp Nou in Barcelona.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex
I
too.
mean, yeah, they can. I won't be delusional here. Of course they can win, and they did it. The game wasn't played in Camp Nou; it was played in Montjuic, but they won. Like Sørloth
Yeah.
scored a last-minute winner for Atletico Madrid. It was actually the last game of 2024, both teams, and Atletico won it, 90th minute. Barcelona dominated the whole game. They were 1-0 up in the 70-something minute. It was the 75th minute. Rafinha hit the crossbar. Then Atletico scored 2 quick goals, and they won it 2-1. Barcelona were winning, and they had their line at the center of the pitch. And Atletico scored 2 goals. So you see, last year it was the same thing. But
Yeah.
the problem this year is that Inigo Martinez is not there anymore. And maybe because of his absence too, this is why the team is not pressing like that either.
Mhm.
There are many factors that are going on. It's not like those guys forgot how to play football.
Yeah, so yeah, Atletico has a chance. To be honest, I agree with you. I think I'm not saying they will win for sure tomorrow night, but I think they have a big chance to win. As you said, last season they beat Barcelona, even if Barcelona was more dominative, more impactful on those big games. So yeah, maybe I'm seeing a surprise, not a surprise win because it's Atletico Madrid, but yeah, maybe Atletico Madrid can beat that Barcelona team tomorrow night. It's going to be interesting to see that game. To finish with La Liga, Real Madrid, we're going to talk a bit about that big club, is still struggling to win in the league. They have drawn another away game yesterday, 1-1 in Girona. So we also saw Real Madrid struggle a bit this week against Olympiacos in the Champions League, despite the 4 goals of Kylian Mbappe. Fortunately, he's here and he's in high form for Real Madrid. Jotis, it seems like Real has been off form lately, especially in La Liga. Are you worried about the rest of the season, or do you think it's just a moment to pass and they will improve after that?
I mean, I hope so, but I can't quite put my finger on what exactly is wrong with this team because, I mean, Mbappe is scoring. He scored like 21 goals so far in all competitions, and then like generally as a team, we've been good. Like we've not been bad, but in La Liga for the last 3 games, we just can't seem to win it. Yeah, I mean, there's again, like I mentioned last episode, there's talks of a lot of internal issues.
Yeah.
But and like you said, against Olympiacos, we conceded early, but we came back again. That wasn't the most convincing game from Real Madrid. So yeah, it's a bit tricky. I hope this is a temporary thing, and Xabi Alonso can turns around really quick. But yeah, I'm kind of afraid of the big games now.
Alex, when you see that Real Madrid is a bit struggling in La Liga, do you think it reflects the lack of certain players or tactical styles for this team, or it's just a hard moment to pass and they will increase their level and play better after? Do you think that this Real Madrid has reached his limits this season in their style of play? What do you think about that team right now?
Well, I don't think they reached their limits, but I think overall, for Real Madrid to succeed, the spirits have to be very high, because this was the case when they won also those Champions Leagues in the recent years. Let's say the last 2 Champions Leagues, which they won against Ancelotti. They didn't win those trophies because they were the better team. They were outplayed in almost every single knockout tie they played in those 2 campaigns. The thing is, they had the mental strength and they knew how to deal with the difficult situations, with the difficult moments. They don't seem to have that strength anymore. The feeling that even though things aren't going their way, they are keeping their calm and still be alive in the game. I don't see that motivation, that spirit anymore. Maybe there are internal issues, we don't know. It's true, I'm not saying that the arrival of Mbappe ruined everything. He's an amazing player and you could see that. But it made Vini not so comfortable. It made Rodrigo become a bench player.
Yeah.
Players that contributed to the last two Champions Leagues won by Real Madrid, they are missing a striker. They are still missing that striker. When they won the Champions League, it was Joselu that scored those 2 goals in the return leg against Bayern Munich. Even though they had Vini and Rodrigo on the pitch, and Mbappe plays better on the left, and you have Vini over there. It's crazy. Everybody says those things. It's all we know. We have to search deeper. I don't know, call Juan or something. Ask him.
No, but you're right. There was an interesting interview of a French journalist some months ago that said that, of course, Kylian Mbappe is an amazing player. He's a top scorer, and we don't have a lot of players that can score at each game in each situation like him. But the two problems are, firstly, even if you score goals, it doesn't mean that you win titles. That's the first thing. That's sure. We all know that. The goals are important in different situations, and sometimes you have to score in big games. But also, when you remember the situation between Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, the situation at the beginning was good, and then there were some tensions in the locker room, and it created some tensions between the players. Mbappe left the club after several complications, several discussions with the club. He's still in judgment with PSG. He left the club in not so good times and so good situations, but still he came to Real Madrid. That was his dream. We knew that it's gonna not cause some problems, but he plays better on the left. You have Vinicius, who at the time was the best player in the world that plays on the left. Rodrigo now was, as you said, one of the key member of this team and really important for winning the Champions League. They won, and now here you see that statistic. He hasn't scored since 30 games. That's huge.
30 games.
That's incredible to see that this player hasn't scored in the last 30 games. And so that journalist said that you cannot explain why, but there is a Mbappe syndrome, something like when he joins a team, he creates, of course, debates, but he creates also some tensions between the players and the teams doesn't manage to win titles. So let's hope for Xabi Alonso. Let's hope for the rest of the players that they won't confirm that opinion and that theory, and that, of course, Mbappe is a great player, and maybe he's gonna win the championship. He's gonna win it with the other players. But one thing that is sure is that when you have Mbappe in your team, in your locker room, it creates some tensions between players, and it can also bring some mess in the attack and in the team. So that's, I think, the hardest objective of Xabi Alonso that year is to organize all that and try to give confidence to all the players at the same level, right? And I think for now you see that Mbappe is full of confidence. Vinicius is not full of confidence. Bellingham is not full of confidence, and Rodrigo is absolutely not in his high form. So that's a good point you mentioned, Alex. But we're gonna of course talk about that situation during that year. It's time to move on now to Serie A. The title race is very intense in that championship. We saw this result in the clash between AS Roma and Napoli. Napoli won 1-0 away in the standings. AC Milan is tied for first place with Napoli, 28 points for AC Milan and Napoli. And just behind, you have Inter Milan and AS Roma with 27 points. So just 1 point behind between those four teams. That's quite impressive. But I wanted to talk to you about one team in Serie A, that is the scoring charts this season. Compared to the other leagues, we can see that things are much quieter in Italy. Lautaro Martinez is currently the league's top scorer, but with only 6 goals in 13 games. He's ahead of the most decisive player of the season. It's Nico Pass with Como. 5 goals, 5 assists. He's the most decisive player in Serie A with that 10 goals contribution. But when you watch Haaland, Mbappe, Harry Kane, etc. in other leagues, do you think that the gap between Italy and other championship is increasing precisely because of this lack of attacking players, this lack of stars, this lack of goals, or it's just Italian style of play and we have to keep with that? What do you think?
I mean, in my opinion, it's the Italian style.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Serie A is that far away from La Liga, but it's a bit far away from the Premier League. I mean, La Liga is a bit far away from the Premier League too, because apart from Barcelona, Atletico, and Real Madrid, every team in La Liga would get smashed in the Premier League. Because also that's the problem of La Liga, because of the shitty financial rules they have. Italy and La Liga, I think they are quite close. The thing is that the
Yeah.
strongest teams in La Liga are much stronger than the strongest teams in Italy. That's the difference, you know? If Barcelona or Real Madrid or even Atletico come to Serie A, I think they are beating everybody week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, kind of agree there because first of all, the money when it comes to Premier League and Serie A is like the gap is so huge. I mean, the money in Premier League is in billions with a B. Italy, I mean, Serie A is so far away. I mean, that kind of adds to that kind of contributes to the overall standard of the league and the teams, and also the defensive style of play Italian teams have always been known for. So makes sense. But 6 is crazy low.
Yeah, it's crazy low, to be honest. And but the only good thing maybe for you is that Nico Pass is running on this Serie A. 5 goals, 5 assists for Como and the team of Cesc Fabregas. Alex, you mentioned that Fabregas is doing a great job in Como and in Italy. For you, does he has a bright future ahead of him? You see him maybe next season or in the next 2 seasons managing a great club in Europe?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the teams he's played at, I mean, Chelsea has a great manager. Arsenal has a great manager. Barcelona could be one of his destinations, I think. If Flick leaves, the board will definitely look at Fabregas. There's no way. But I didn't watch Como play this season, only watched some highlights of their games. And I saw they have high scoring games, but also they have games in which it's 0-0, 1-1. The team is very well structured defensively because they didn't concede a lot of goals. But I don't think they are playing the high pressing type of football that Hansi Flick is playing at Barcelona. They are a bit more possession and control based team. That's not bad, good or bad, a different type. And yeah, but he definitely has a bright future. But remember, there were examples in Serie A with managers that did well for those lower table teams, then moved on to bigger teams and failed. And the best example is Thiago Motta, who finished third with Bologna and then went on to Juve to become the draw master. Juve were drawing every single game, and he was
That's right. That's
sacked
crazy.
at the end.
Yeah, that's
Alex
right.
is using so many phrases. He should be a pundit.
Yeah, I'm informed tonight.
Yeah, because Barcelona is leading the league, so that's right.
Fair enough.
Exactly, yeah.
That's one of the reasons, yeah. And also because it's the Romanian National Day, so that's the
That's
best day
the
for
main
Alex.
reason, yeah. I'm a pride Romanian today.
Yeah, that's
Fair
good.
enough.
Well, yes, Serie is quite that's a good thing because we are not the maybe the most we don't follow Serie A the most compared to Premier League or La Liga, but it's really interesting when you see that the gap between the first 4 teams is so tight. That's cool for football, of course, and the rush for the title. Como is 6th, so that's quite interesting. And Bologna, you mentioned Bologna is the 5th in the table with 24 points. So that's quite impressive too. Just the Juventus is 7th in the league. They keep struggling in Serie A. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can progress and increase their level, because if not, they won't qualify for next Champions League, and that can be a really bad situation for them. But let's move on. I wanted also to talk a bit about Ligue 1 France, which also have
My
been
league.
very lively lately. Exactly. The result of the weekend is, of course, PSG's defeat in Monaco when Marseille drew at home against Toulouse. And so that's Lens that's finally took the lead in the standings for now. Lens is leading the French league. That's quite not impressive because they have been very good a few years ago, but it's quite strange to see that the other teams are kind of struggling. So, Alex, you follow the French league closely, closer than me, maybe. No, but yeah, I wanted to ask you: do you think we could see a surprise at the end of this season, a loss, a Lille, or another team? Do you think at the end PSG will win that title, will bounce back good? There is not so much gap between the teams, to be honest, but that's quite a surprise to see Lens at this level. More than the quarter, 14 days, 14 games in the French league. We have 34 at the end. So what do you think? Do you think PSG will win that title, or do you think another team can create the surprise?
You know, the more the season goes on and the more PSG can't seem to get a bigger lead, the more of a chance you have to have a surprise team win the title, you know? So if PSG focus on the Champions League and they put on the reserves in the league against every opponent, you never know. You have great teams in Liga, Lens, Marseille, even though Marseille, so they had the chance to go top and they played
Yeah.
Toulouse at home and they drew. So that shows that under pressure, like under the feeling and the thought of them finishing the match week at the top of the table, they weren't able to perform and they drew against Toulouse. And Toulouse is not a team that is used to have great results away from home.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think PSG will win the title, but the margin of points won't be that big. And Lens, when they finished second 2 years ago, they were only 1 point, I think, behind PSG.
1 point. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think that PSG will win that title because if they focus and if they get all their players back on the pitch, of course they're gonna be more dangerous and they know how to manage those kind of situation better than the other teams. But we can see surprises and maybe a fight until the last day, the last match days. We'll follow that.
There's
Also,
also
French teams. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I was just I wanted to ask. There's also it will be interesting to see what happened with Paris FC because they have the family that owns Louis Vuitton involved. Also, Red Bull is involved, and they pretend to want a big project, like competing against PSG, and it will be funny. I commentated their
Well, yeah.
games their game against Auxerre this weekend, and they were the team to allow Auxerre not set the record of 6 consecutive games without scoring. And yeah, they conceded against Auxerre, yeah, which are bottom of the table. It will be interesting to see what happens with them.
Yeah, that's true. You're right to mention that. I think the first objective of Paris FC is, of course, to maintain in the league for the first season. But as they said, they have great expectations. They want to recruit great players. So yeah, we'll see if they can in the next few years compete with those big teams. But yeah, you're right to mention it. Also, I wanted to add that French teams perform well in Europe this week, particularly against English sides. We saw in the Conference League, for example, that Strasbourg beat Crystal Palace, so that's a good win for them. Marseille beat Newcastle at home, also 2-1, and PSG put on a show against Tottenham, winning 5-3 with an outstanding performance from Vitinha. I know that Vitinha is a player who impresses you greatly, and as he does all of us. We heard Thomas Frank, the Spurs coach, say that in his opinion, Vitinha is the best players in the world right now. I wanted to ask you, where do you rank Vitinha among the top players at the moment? For you, is he at the highest expectation? Where do you rank him in those players?
I mean, he's hands down one of the best midfielders at the moment, and I'm hoping he can do wonders for Portugal at the World Cup. And yeah, it is such a joy to watch. Even the goals that he scored against Tottenham, unbelievable. What a top class finishes. So yeah, he's definitely one of the best at the moment. And yeah, looking forward to seeing more of him.
Yeah, that is true. Also, a journalist and an analyzer compared the situation and the play style of Vitinha with Marco Verratti. You remember at PSG,
Interesting.
Verratti was amazing, but that was interesting to see that Vitinha has something more. He want to score, he want to carry the team on his back. He is very talented. Maybe Verratti was more talented than Vitinha, but the difference is that you see that Vitinha, even if he plays number 6 in that team, he scored a hat trick against Tottenham in the Champions League. So that's amazing, and I think that's good also for him to prove that he deserved that third place at the Ballon d'Or, for example, and also that that hype people are bringing him. And yeah, you mentioned the World Cup. It's going to be interesting to see how he's going to evolve with this Portugal national team. But yeah, Vitinha, and you see that I wanted to mention it. We don't have a lot of time, but PSG is the best attack of that Champions League with 19 goals in 5 match days. Even if they played without a number 9, even if Dembele is injured, even if Desiré Doué is injured, they are still able to score a lot of goals, and that's also the role of Vitinha to organize all that. So I think it's important to mention his performance and his level. Guys, we don't have so much time, so let's finish with the Premier League, of course. First, let's talk about the clash between the two teams, the top 2 teams, Arsenal and Chelsea, who drew 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. That was a quite intense match, fighting match also, somewhat marred by Caicedo's red card. We have talked a lot about Arsenal. Jotis, do you think Chelsea could have beaten Arsenal yesterday if they hadn't received that red card?
100%. Because in the
100%.
first half, that was the most pressure Arsenal has been under probably the whole season, because Chelsea were playing so good. They were pressing high. Arsenal couldn't really build up, make any build up play. So they were under a lot of pressure until that red card came up. But even after that, they scored a goal, but they couldn't do
Yeah.
much more than that. So yeah, I truly believe if that red card hadn't happened, Chelsea would have won that game.
Yeah. Alex, do you share that opinion? Do you think Chelsea was maybe the most impressive team against Arsenal that season? Like impressive, or maybe they tried to the best their.
Yeah, I think they played great, but I don't think they would have won the game if it was 11 versus 11, because Arsenal, knowing, like, having in mind that Chelsea are one man down, they play differently. The team would be more focused, I think, in a 11 versus 11 situation. It wasn't that obvious, for example, in like the game between Barcelona and Chelsea, in which Araujo was
Yeah.
sent off. Barcelona didn't stand a chance in the second half, but Chelsea looked okay against Arsenal.
Yeah, that's right. Also, I wanted to mention the performance of Reece James in this new role in the midfield. He was really impressive. We often talk justly about Moises Caicedo, who is an amazing player. But yesterday we saw that Reece James is also an amazing player and really good in this midfield position. It's been more than a year now that he has not been injured, if I'm not saying bad things, and so that's a good news
Crazy.
for a team. Yeah, so that's a really good news for Chelsea because he's always injured. So if you can count on him on big matches like this, it's important. Just to mention that City, of course, have won, but hard fought against Leeds, 3-2 victory, and are back in second place. But finally, one topic that has excited this season, of course, is Liverpool. The Reds, who have been struggling this week, suffered another disastrous home defeat to PSV in the Champions League, losing 4-1. But Arne Slot's players bounced back somewhat at the weekend, beating West Ham 2-0 with a goal from Alexander Isak. So that's a that's a good thing for the 150 million player. Jotis, things have not been looking good for Arne Slot lately. Do you think his future at Liverpool is already sealed despite yesterday's victory, or with this win, he still have a chance for the rest of the season?
I don't think yesterday's result changed much. I mean, because if they had lost it, I mean, of course, it would have been worse, but I don't think it necessarily would have affected Arne Slot's future. Moving forward, the fact that's going to affect his future is how Liverpool does for the rest of the season. They won yesterday, but was against West Ham, who are at the bottom of the table, the fighting relegation. So it's not exactly a convincing win, but it's something. So yeah, I'd be really curious to see where Liverpool goes from here.
Alex, do you think Arne Slot will finish this season with Liverpool? Do you think they will improve? What's your opinion on the future of that?
If Arne Slot changes the formation to 4-4-4-2, he wins the league.
Mhm. He
So
wins the league.
yeah. So no,
Okay.
he needs to
Yeah,
change
there's
the
only 9
system.
points. Yeah.
Salah needs to be put on the bench. You have to start Florian Wirtz on the left. You have Soboslai on the right, and then you have in the midfield you have Gravenberch and McAllister, Ekitike and Isak up front. But those two, Soboslai and Wirtz, they won't be like wingers, as they call it in FIFA, left AM and air AM,
Mhm.
like center
Mhm.
attacking midfielders that go a bit wider. Maybe, and with the wing backs overlapping with Frimpong and Kerkez, you can exploit the opposition. You leave Gravenberg on the back with McAllister and Konate. This is like the best tactic, and you have Isak up front with Ekitike. It's deadly. They should start playing like this from the next game, and they will win the league.
Call
Okay.
FSG
We
and appoint Alex as the manager.
Yeah.
exactly. Why we haven't talked about think about that? Just Alex on the bench, and that's okay. But yeah, for you, it's a question of system positioning too. The thing is that I kind of agree with you. He needs to change because we see that that doesn't work. But we also said that he changed the system from last season that performed well. He changed the system that doesn't work. If he changes in another system, even if Alex is 100% sure that with that system they're going to win the league, it also can take some time for the players to adapt, right?
Yeah, I mean, when he won the league last year, he didn't change so many things from the Klopp era,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
and he had the same players. Right now, he doesn't have the same players that he won the league with. It's a different team, and he needs to build it. He needs to find a way because I don't think, so when you look at their transfers, it's not like they signed those players because they were 100% sure or because they thought they would
Mm-hmm.
fit in their system. They didn't sign the players for the system. They signed those players because it was marketing opportunity, They wanted to go big to improve their squad, but they didn't improve it looking at their system. They sold Luis Diaz, but they didn't bring a left winger to replace him. Wirtz is not a left winger, and he's been asked to play as a left winger, and this is why his performances have been so bad. He's an attacking midfielder, so he needs to do something with those players that he has right now. Also, the performances of the old players like Salah and Konate, which are the players to point at, they are one of the
Sure.
ones who disappointed the most.
Yeah, that's true. And you read that it seems like Real Madrid is not interested yet in
Yeah,
signing
yeah,
Konate now.
yeah. Maybe
They
he can
maybe
start
want to sign
playing
Upamecano.
football again. Nah, not Barcelona. No, give him away.
Okay, okay. I will keep him away. Yeah, well, let's remind that Liverpool is 8th in the table with 21 points, just 9 points behind the Arsenal. Sorry, the 9 points is 3 victories, so we never know. Manchester United also has 21 points, 7th. So yeah, let's see how the teams are going. But for now, Arsenal is leading the lead with 5 points more from on Manchester City, which is second with 25 points. So yeah, we'll see how this Premier League will end. I think we've now come to the end of our podcast, guys. Thank you once again all for listening us on Spotify or YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on social media. 4 lads, 1 red card. We'll be there next week, same time. Jotis, Alex, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Jules.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.